You make your change for a lifetime, one choice at a time. Today on Growing Hope, we set a management system for our time by creating a workable budget for the time that we are given.
It's time for Growing Hope, the show determined to grow up hearts open to pursue the extraordinary. Because you are extraordinary! And now, live from a little cabin in the woods, nestled along Big Spring Creek, it's your host, Kathryn Lang.
Hello and welcome to Growing Hope, where we are investing a few moments of our day to grow up lives in purpose and on purpose. I am Kathryn Lang, your resident Hope Smith and Dream Igniter, because I know that a dream, given the right fuel, can reach the stars. The right fuel is not the same for every person. I would almost step out on a limb and say that it's never the same for every person, because it can't be exactly the same for every person, because no two people are exactly the same. But sometimes the similarities outweigh the differences. So it looks and feels like their fuel or their journey or their dream is the same. And so we begin comparing ourselves. But it's important that we always remember that each and every one of us is different. We are each on a unique journey because we are each uniquely designed in purpose and on purpose. We each have a unique path that we have to define. Now, we can learn from others, and we should, and we can listen and watch what others are doing and where they're going, and we should use all of that information to then glean the right ways and the right focuses to make our own way. The moment you try to fit into someone else's journey, you will spiral into a hole that can be tough to climb out of. Now, I was never one to go for schedules, which, if you know me now, is kind of funny, but it always made the administrators at my school so happy that I ignored their schedule. By the time I got to 12th grade, I was done. I was done. And I didn't even worry about getting up in the morning. As a matter of fact, my friend that lived up the road, she would call me when she left her house, because that's when I would finally get out of bed, get dressed, brush my teeth, and put my hair in a ponytail. And that's how I arrived at school. So when I started thinking about schedules, I guess in a way that was my schedule and it worked for me, but not everybody would say that was a schedule. When I started homeschooling, that didn't work anymore. I knew I had to do better. I couldn't wait for someone to honk before I made my move. So I tried several different methods that the experts promised me would work, and they didn't. Either I wasn't consistently consistent, at least not enough to make it work, or else it was just the wrong method for me. Either way, time kept getting away from me. And one year, while I was teaching a Sunday school or a Sunday night class, I challenged everyone in the room to take a time audit. And I led the way by doing one as well. So when I tested how I was investing my time, I learned that little bits of different systems had kind of made their way into what became my schedule. And it was those differences, the different elements, that were giving me the control I needed in the different areas. When I evaluated all of my time, the whole time, I still knew I needed to adjust and find even more ways to make the most of where I was. Eventually, I found a system that worked for me, even if it only worked for a season, because with every change in season, you need to review and adjust. When it comes to setting your time budget, you will need to test your time. Perform a time audit yourself to see how you're investing the time you're given. Then you'll need to evaluate the results, and you'll need to be honest and blunt with yourself about what's working and what isn't working. And you'll need to adjust your expectations. You'll need to be real about what you can get done, what you need to get done, and you'll also need to get others on board. You'll need to set a new budget, or you can call it a schedule, or you can call it whatever you want to call it as long as it works for you. And then you're going to need to review your progress on a regular basis because, again, seasons change. You have all the time that everyone else has. It's not that you need more time to get it done, it's that you need to make the most of the time you're given so that you can get it done. When you budget your time, then you control your time, and all of a sudden you discover that you had more time than you even know what to do with. But it takes a budget. If you're going to make the most of the time you have, you need to squeeze out every last drop from each and every second. Anything wasted is nothing gained. I started Growing Hope Daily the first Monday of September, and the first week of production almost broke me. There was so many excuses just waiting to be used, and it would have been so easy to put off to doing what I knew to do. Now, by the second week, well, things were squeaking by, but the excuses still continued to taunt me. So I sat in on the Gold Chat, Twitter chat that Sunday night. Let me tell you, it's one of the best accountability Twitter chats that I've ever been a part of. But it normally starts at my bedtime, so I struggle most weeks to make it. But this week, I was determined I was going to make it. I needed the accountability, and I shared my goals, and I knew that deep down in my knower, I knew this is what I needed to do. No sooner had I shared my goals than the excuses started their parade, complete with a band. My son had an appointment, my dad had an appointment, I had something unexpected come up. I was still trying to catch up on my chores from last week. Isn't that how it works? Instead of getting tangled up in all the challenges, I put my head down and I pushed forward. When things got tight, I just made the most of that moment. If there was a break in the action, I put that time to work writing or cleaning. The more I focused on making the most of my time, the more I got done. And by the end of the week, other people were joining in. My husband was on board. My son was on board. Things were getting done all over the place. And it wasn't that I had more time. It's that I made more of the time that I found, little bits at a time. I didn't get the whole list done, but it was enough that I ended up the week with enthusiasm at what was next. I was excited to see Monday. Setting a time budget, however that looks for you, will help you find the time you need so that you end up the week with enthusiasm of what comes next. So first you want to take the time to test your time. If you're struggling to have enough time, then the problem is never the clock. You get the same 24 hours that everyone else gets. You just have to test your time to see how you're investing it and what's working for you. And trust me, the time is there. So get a small notebook and write down everything you do in the day. And I mean everything. This is only for you. This is your time audit. So no one else is going to see the details. The more you can put down, the more detailed you can get, the better off you are. Once you get the record down, evaluate how you're currently spending your time. After a week or a month, if possible, do a month, sit down and graph out how you're spending your time. Write out how you feel about what you see on that graph. Make a note about the things you believe you could be doing better or that you need to do different. Make a list of the things that you want to get done with your time. And be sure to include everything from the chores to the job, right up to the health and fitness. Armed with the graphs and the notes and the lists, you can get honest about what you expect. Be honest about what you can do and what you really want to do. Circle the most important things. Underline the things that you would like to do. Mark out those things that are not stirring your heart or that other people have told you you have to do. The fourth part of your time budget is the new schedule or map or plan or whatever label you're comfortable putting on it. Just do it. It's a tool. Call it your tool, your time tool. How about that? It's a time tool. Estimate the time you'll need for each item on your list. Then begin filling out your schedule. Fill out the hour slots with each of the tasks that you want accomplished. If it doesn't all fit in the beginning, you're going to have to make deeper choices. The great thing that you're going to discover, though, is that as you make these deep choices and as you are consistent in following your time budget, you're going to discover more and more time available for those things you had to cut before. And sometimes you discover those things that you had to cut really weren't as important as you thought they were. Once you get all the kinks worked out, live with your time budget. Put your plan into action, but take time every night to write down notes about what's working, what could work better, and what's not working at all. So the last part of your time budget is to review your notes and adjust the plan as needed. It's important that you be willing to adjust your time budget, because what's going to happen is you're going to find you have more time, but also your season's going to change. Consistent follow through is going to make a difference, but you need a time budget. It doesn't have to look just like mine, and it probably shouldn't look just like mine. Mine is specific to me, and your time budget needs to be specific to you. It needs to be specific to you and to this time and this place. When you take the time to create your time budget, you make more time for what you want to do. You find the time you always wish you had. This morning I went in early to run errands. And as I was unloading the groceries I unloaded them from the car, and then I was going to have to put them away. And as I was setting them on the floor, I realized there was a time in my life when I would do all that I had done that morning, and then I would also be nursing children during the breaks. In other words, I got way more done not because I had more time, but because I did more with the time I had. I became a master at the multitasking, and also a pretty good shepherd of the little bits. But somewhere along the way, I forgot it. I forgot it all. Or maybe it's probably that I got so far behind, I didn't know how to get caught back up. Either way, it doesn't matter. I had stopped getting things done. Or worse, I expected others to get things done for me. As long as we wait for others to do it, we run the risk of being disappointed. Others are not the key to getting more time to do what you want to do. Having a budget is the key. Knowing what you have, knowing what you're doing with what you have, that's your key. You have to define what you want to do with your time, and you have to make the plan that will create the results you seek. It is that simple, and it should be that simple. How you make it work will be up to you. Use a block system. Use digital timers. Use a 2-a-day task. Whatever system catches your eye, or just make up your own system. I can't stress enough the importance of doing it your way, because you can waste way more time trying to fit their way into your plan than you could ever find by making your own plan. I had a friend that looked like she had it all together. She was very organized, and she wasn't just organized for her life. She was able to get our group organized, and all I could think was, this is amazing. How do you do this? I need to know. I needed the magic that she had. And she just went, I use a bullet journal. A bullet journal. I had no idea what a bullet journal was. But she had it so together, I was determined to figure out what a bullet journal was. I did some searches, as we do now, and I purchased my journal, and I jumped in with both feet. Each day I followed the formula and I filled in all the tasks, and each day I found I spent way more time filling my bullet journal than I did actually doing the tasks. Despite how well it worked for my friend, it did not work for me. It is so important that you find the system that works for you. That's why I created my focus folder system, which happens to be completely adjustable to different individuals and changing seasons. You have to make your own way. We're all going to go through those moments where we wish we had more time. Just this past week, I wished that this week had been last week so that I could be closer to being done and prepared for this week. Despite our wishing and our wanting, we still have the same 24 hours that everyone else gets. In truth, time is the great equalizer. Nobody gets more time in their day, no matter what their title, no matter how much they make, and no matter where they live. The difference in what they do and what you do is not the time, it's the priorities that are set and the way that time gets utilized. Which is why it's impossible to look at someone else's life and determine if they have more time. Because you put your priorities on their time budget and it rarely works out. I had a good friend that had 7 children. I mean, imagine 7 children. She hosted a party for one of her children, and when I came over, her house was clean and organized. The party ran perfectly, and I was in awe. I couldn't believe that she could do all this. I mean, I compared what she was doing to my life and my focus, and I set it over what I assumed was her schedule, and I wished I had the time she had. Only I didn't know. I didn't know what she did during the day, moment by moment. I didn't know what made up her big dream goals and whether or not she was even able to pursue them at that time. I didn't know how she got done what she got done, and I never bothered to ask. I just judged my own life as lacking. Don't try to hold your life up to someone else. They weren't designed for your life, and you aren't designed for theirs. Make your own way. Invest in learning how to budget your time. Test how you're using your time now. Evaluate what you want to do and what you are doing. Adjust your expectations and focus. Set a new schedule or plan. Review as you go and adjust as you need. You have all the time you need. You just have to create a plan to make the most of the time you have. Thank you so much for joining me for this journey to set the budgets we need to live a balanced life. You can catch up with any of the episodes you missed by visiting growinghoperadio.com. Also, if you are struggling right now to grasp on your time budget, if you're trying to figure out how to make this work for you, just email me using contact@growinghoperadio.com. Or you can find me on social media as Kathryn C. Lang. It's KATHRYNCLANG. And of course, you can visit whiteboardofworlddomination.com because there are some great tips for defining your big dream goals, which is perfect for setting up your time budget. I want to see you make the most of your time. So I want you to live bold, in purpose, on purpose, and for a purpose. You are designed for so much more than what the world is trying to convince you can have. And I dare you to go get it. I am Kathryn Lang, and I'm here to tell you right now that hope will make a difference because every day holds a possibility of more. Every action you take contains the power of possibility. It's not about what the world says. It's not about what the world shows. See, the strength of hope and encouragement will and does push through the limits and the walls of the world. My prayer, my hope, and my desire is that by investing together in this journey, that the words I share are helping establish a foundation of hope that are going to shatter the delusions of the world around us. You and me. Because when I share with you, it inspires me to be more as well. We've got this. Let's not let the world take it from us. Because that's the only way that the world can stop us is if we make the choice to let the world. Dare to live bold. Dare to walk out this balanced life. Dare to find your way and then dare to bring somebody along with you. This journey's more fun when you drag somebody with you. Until next time, remember, in all that you're doing, be blessed and be a blessing.
Thank you for joining us for Growing Hope with Kathryn Lang, where we are sharing hope, encouragement, and inspiration to do more. Visit www.kathrynlang.com to invite Kathryn to be part of your event or to share your own stories of possibility living. Until next time, remember that a seed of hope planted and nurtured will grow up into a world of possibilities.